heart is like blowing open. And I don't even know what I expected motherhood to be, but if I had tried to guess on that day, I wouldn't have gotten close to what I thought it was going to be.
Welcome to Deeply Well. Hi, I'm Devi Brown. This is your soft place to land. This is a show where we are curious, we are creative, and we are connected to an intention of higher consciousness and transformation. This is where you heal. This is where you become. This episode, wow. I always feel deeply open, grateful, enthusiastic for every guest that comes on this show. But this one a little bit different. This is going to take it up a notch. I am really blessed today on this show to have one of my dearest friends, a woman who I admire, I love, and who brings so much depth, joy, intention, introspection, and real tools to so many in the world. Today, I am joined by Myleik Teele. Myleik is an astute businesswoman who unapologetically pursues excellence in all that she does. Myleik Teele is the founder and chief experience officer of CURLBOX, the first monthly subscription service for naturally textured hair. Through her notable career as a public relations executive, major clients and brands across many industries such as entertainment, tech, and beauty have sought her talents as a consultant and collaborator. Recently, she's launched an online community empowering Black moms. Myleik's work centers on Black women, and the most significant intention behind her work is to be of service to Black women who aren't afraid to do the internal work external success hinges on. Welcome, Myleik!
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. Thrilled.
I'm like, so we're friends, right?
Yes.
We're definitely, you'll see us hopping in each other's comments and all that, but we're friends in real life.
Yes.
So it was really fun because before this episode, we spent the morning together.
Yes.
And I had to be like, wait, we got to stop talking because we got to save this.
We have to save some for the show today.
For the show. The last time, I recently had an amazing opportunity to be on your show as you took over the Samsung stage in New York.
Yes.
I mean, Myleik had us on billboards in Times Square, honey.
I did. It was fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And before that, I was on your show 5 years ago.
I can't believe.
When we were both pregnant with our sons. And something we have been reflecting on is that journey of kind of highly irritated pregnant women.
Yes, highly. The
episode is amazing. Yes. Everyone, please go back and find it. But we were like reading people their rights.
We were.
Don't touch my belly.
Yes.
And who?
Don't ask me what I'm having.
Don't ask me the name. We were hot.
We were, and miserably pregnant together.
Yes. And something that you share quite a bit with your audience, and something that I love to share, is how soft and syrupy and slow we've been able to become as mothers over the last 5 years, and how much our motherhood has radically healed us, transformed us, and given us access to parts of ourselves that were always there, but maybe lied a little bit dormant.
Yes.
So I would love to start there, Myleik, as someone that has really, you have been substantially outpouring in your work in a multitude of ways for a very long time.
Yeah.
In a way that has uplifted so many that have found you. As someone that was always in an elevated position of teaching, tell me some of the things that you have been learning and embodying over these last several years.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think about the last conversation we had on my podcast and how we were just talking about the pregnancy, and I don't even know what I expected motherhood to be, but if I had tried to guess on that day, I wouldn't have gotten close to what I thought it was going to be. And so becoming a mother one of the first lessons was allowing people to help me. I needed help and asking for help. That was the first, you spend those first 2 weeks. I didn't really know what I was doing. Can you come over? Somebody help me. Learning to ask for help. As my kids have grown up, accessing silliness. Like I was not ever allowed to be silly as a kid. And so, in the moments that I'm like wanting my children to I am wanting cooperation sometimes. And when I'm wanting that, instead of leaning on what I know, being stern, being short, I have found that I get more cooperation when I am silly and I join in and I'm using the words and I'm doing a booty shake, and they're losing it, and sometimes, we're doing a dance and I didn't know how much the relationship that I have with my children would heal my inner child. I just didn't know.
Tears already forming. Yeah. I relate so deeply to that. And when you talk about like the silliness, right?
Yeah.
Like the freedom that, it's interesting. We're in such a powerful time that I'm really excited about, right? Like all the paradigm shifts we have all been living through and are still living through, and all, especially for women of color, this new agency and sovereignty that we are coming into in a large collective, right? We've always had the outliers.
Yeah.
But the majority, having large bodies of people come into new awarenesses around how we can shift the way we love our children, the way we feel about our children, the way we love and tend to and feel about ourselves. It is so powerful and so dynamic, but it really does. The ease is in the surrendering, but it requires a significant amount of presence with self.
Yes.
It requires a significant amount to be this soft. Like it's not just the hashtag soft girl summer.
No.
I want to live a soft life. Like to live a soft life, you have to dive into the depths of your own spirit to free yourself enough to be soft.
Come on. Yes. It's the curiosity that this requires. Like the softness requires this curiosity of, everything that triggers you has a story to tell. And so, it started with like crying.
Yeah.
Crying was such a trigger for me. And instead of getting angry, I got curious. Instead of turning it off, I got curious.
Yeah.
In motherhood with my son wants endlessly. This is a child that never stops wanting. And I got curious of like, why does this bother me so much? Why am I so bothered by the fact that he wants more than what I've given him?
Yeah.
And what I had to learn is that if I want to help him maintain the access to his desires, so many of us don't have access to our desires. And I knew I was there. If I want to help him maintain that, I have to be okay with him wanting more. And I think sometimes in parenting, we think wanting more means giving more.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm giving more.
Which then triggers in a lot of people this feeling of lack or not enoughness. Or especially if, if it's the toys and you're like, I got you a toy. I can't get you, whether it's financial hardship or just, the discipline.
Right.
But what that triggers inside, what we take those things to mean about us.
Absolutely. And just getting to a point where I can say to my son, he wants another cake pop. And I go,
oh my God, that's Quest thing.
Yeah.
Pink cake pop.
Yeah. And I said, cake pops are good. Cake pops are good. And there is nothing wrong with them wanting another one. But we are not having a second one today. Yeah. My job is to keep you safe. And I am going to keep you safe with one cake pop today. But and then I just free him up and like, but we can revisit tomorrow. And he's like, cool. Isn't
it interesting? Like, I would love your thoughts on this. Something I I've experienced and that I think about is the ease in just explaining to your child something, right? And I think that from previous generations, that was there's always been the outliers. So there's always been some people that did have really emotionally evolved community and parents and adults and all the aspects of their lives.
Yep.
I would dare to say that is nowhere near the norm for the majority of people living on earth.
No.
But that piece of it was a piece that was always withheld. And I think in a lot of ways, so many of our parents didn't get to explore themselves for real.
No.
They got to explore parts of themselves that were possible in those times.
Yep.
But that deeper emotional depth of their own experience, which could free them to then have the space to allow, many of us to be our full selves.
Yes.
Or that piece of it, it's always like do what I say, not what I do.
Yeah.
That makes utterly no sense. That's
None.
gaslighting. Like
Right.
other pieces of no, I just said no. And it's like, well, sometimes you're trying as a young person to understand life.
Yes.
So you need the explanation.
You need the explanation.
You
and
need
it's
to
not
know
a
how it
respect
works.
Thing,
Yeah.
It's not a respect thing. But there was something I was talking about recently and about how my son, we were just talking about this idea of like, what are some of the things that he's done that have kind of like made you feel disrespected? And I'm like, about the time when he told me he wanted to slap me in my face, like not just slap me, but in my face. And something that the child psychologist brought up to me is she goes, what would life be like if you were unafraid of your caregiver, like your parent, like this? When someone is unafraid, they get to explore, try things. I mean, children are so powerless.
Yeah.
How powerful is it to just, even if you don't want to do it, to just want to say it and to know that they can safely get that out with you, and even just doing my own inner work. Instead of like, I'm looking like, okay, but just realizing like, wow, feeling so proud that like you feel safe to throw that out with me. And I know how you feel about me. I know the truth of our relationship, but I also recognize that as you grow, these are just some of the things that have to happen. It's like, I would like for you to practice all of these things with me in a safe place. I don't want you to go out in the world and tell someone else that, in a place that's not safe. And so it has been a ton of work for me to just say, in all of those moments where that I didn't get to do any of these things and where no one explained anything to me, to just allow my kids to try and evolve. And when they're safe and unafraid, like they are their truest self.
Yes.
And everyone deserves to have a place where they can be their truest self.
God, that is so beautifully real. And because everything always has an exchange on the other side of that, it's like, now I'm privileged to witness you.
Yes.
As you grow as your truest self, right?
Yes.
I am not trying to control the outcomes of you, and I'm not trying to control your emotions in a way that makes me feel most calm.
Yeah.
Or, most makes me feel best in my space. I'm now able to witness the way your mind and spirit are processing this guidance and who that allows you to become.
And it set me free.
Yes.
It set me free.
Yes.
It
heals you as it extends.
Completely. Yes. It's just, if I can do this for them, I can do this for me.
Yeah.
And so allowing myself the space in the room to feel what I feel and to feel safe in our home. I don't know. I didn't expect any of this when I became a parent. And just the softness of just, I don't know that prior to having children, I was even available to truly receive love.
Yeah.
And I am 7,000% incapable of denying their attempts, requests, bids for love, and so they have really, they have brought me places, for sure.
Tell me how this deepened awareness and this this expanded sense of self-compassion and patience for self, right? Because that's what we're really learning. Like every time you're patient for your kid's meltdown, every time that you're present enough to let them have this moment and not feel like you have to control it or force something, it teaches us it gives us access to more capacity within ourselves to mirror that for ourselves, right?
Sure.
Like now that grace is transferable for me. Now that acceptance is transferable for me. Now one mistake doesn't mean something is so overbearingly hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to mean something about me.
Right.
Now you have space.
Totally.
With space comes the opportunity to call in limitless possibilities. It comes in, the opportunity to have more creativity.
Yes.
Where has this space that you've created inside taken you as a woman?
Oh my goodness. I mean, being able to invest more time, in those moments where I've rushed myself along all the time. Get over it, get past it. You can do this,
Yes.
get over it. And it's like just giving myself room. There was a period in my time, maybe like a year ago, where I was just really stressed, worried, concerned. I felt very alone in some things. And before, I would just like feelings aren't facts. You got this, that, and it's like, well, maybe feelings aren't facts, but feelings are information.
Yeah.
And you get to feel. You get to feel, and you don't have to run those feelings off. And so this space and this capacity, and I didn't even realize this, making a home for every part of me inside of my body instead of trying to chase it off. And so I remember I would be so worried, and I could feel it coming in my body, and I would just hold myself. Like I like to hold my face like either here or hold my shoulders. And I would say to that part of myself, I'm not gonna run you away. I'm not gonna run you away. And some deep breaths, and really just being okay with, it's okay if I feel worried. I don't have to. I was just spinning my wheels, always trying to push off bad feelings. Oh, I should just, positivity. I should feel good. Let me read a positive mantra. And it's like, I don't know. I'm feeling sucky today, and I'm going to invite that feeling in, make a home for it, breathe with it. And I don't know, I didn't realize that I could live with all of the parts of me, like true acceptance, because if I can look at my children and be really generous with what they might be feeling, like, why can't I do that for myself? And so I have been. And I don't know, it's made me truly feel so much better about myself, welcoming those parts of me that I pushed away for so long.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the most exquisite feeling.
Beyond.
And it's so interesting because I think, for a lot of decades, we were collectively, our consciousness was stuck in this loop of motivation and positivity.
Ooh.
And when I was coming into my space as a teacher, and when I was, really beginning to build my acumen and being trauma informed, it's like I rejected so much of that because I realized that's what everyone always did. That's what everyone's parents always did. It was bypass.
Yes.
Move through it. Don't feel it. Just, okay, come to the other thought.
Yep.
And I think what people, and I say this with grace, right? Because this is a tool that requires a lot of presence with self, a lot of willingness to be in your shadows. What a lot of parents, what a lot of people, what a lot of friends who want to rush people out of a feeling don't realize is how incredibly detrimental that is to the other person's mental health. Like, it's not just a matter of your comfort of trying to like, oh, I don't know what to say, so let me just try to make them feel positive. Let me distract them.
Yes.
You know, especially when you're doing that with your children for like their whole childhood.
Their whole childhood.
It is so detrimental to the formation of their actual identity.
Completely.
It's detrimental to their development of their emotional life, their mental life, their spiritual life. Like, those small moments that seem so fast as a parent or a friend or however you are showing up for someone, it seems like, well, that was just one conversation that afternoon. We got out of it. I'll have other chances to do better. Or, okay, well, life will get easier. You know, they'll move past it. Those are the experiences that shape us.
Completely.
Like, our entire identity in life is based on the tiny details in the moments. It's based on the crises that only happen once in a while. And when you're not present for that, or you don't have the ability to help someone just be present with themselves and their own emotions, you're shutting off what they're here to know as a human being, as a spirit embodied on earth, as a person. You are ending their capacity to ever meet that need for themselves.
You know, one of the greatest gifts that I learned and I have used with my daughter's just 2, and so she's getting there, and I have more skills with her. But with my son, one of the greatest gifts I have is telling him, I believe you. I believe you. You know, even if I don't understand it, you know, it's like he's has a full meltdown over being given the wrong color cup, you know. I believe you. That, you know, I don't ever want to be in the business of like denying his emotional experience because I don't understand it or it doesn't make sense to me. I believe you. I believe this is a big deal for you. And I remember the very first time I said that to him, you know, he's screaming, he doesn't want to go to school. And I said, I believe you. And it was like, stopped in his tracks. I believe you. And it's just been so helpful. And I'm like, if we're sitting with friends, we've been in those situations, right? Where you're with a friend and something happens to them that maybe, and when I go back into this, it's like, that maybe wouldn't it just faze me like that, you know? And it's like, I believe you.
Yeah.
That hurt.
I don't know what you experienced before you arrived at this experience.
Yes.
Right?
The context of the moment. I don't have everything to it, but it's like, I believe you. I do. And so that's just been so helpful in just applying that. It's like all of the stuff that I do with my kids, you know what it helps me, Devi? It helps me see the inner child in everyone that I engage with. Yeah. Where I see whatever, you know, someone is coming to me with or whatever they're going through, I can think about all the ways that maybe their needs weren't met. And so now here we are, you know, we aren't engaging as adults completely. You know, it's like I'm engaging with your inner child who maybe didn't have their needs met.
And age is not something we control, right? So you can grow into the physical form of what is a quote unquote in our species, an adult human.
An adult human.
But that has nothing to do with your internal life, your emotional, mental capacity.
Ooh, your internal age. You're like, what is that?
Yeah. It's really, something that was really freeing for me was I remember years ago I was dealing with some frustrating, painful experiences. And I remember my therapist said, look at everyone as if they're 3 years old. Use a voice with even the people you don't like when you're re-experiencing these situations privately. Yeah. As if they were 3. Yeah. And so I had some significant experiences with a couple people, and though those experiences were not repairable in any way, there was never going to be access to me again. But to come to my own peace with it, I made it a practice to think about them every day for 20 minutes on purpose, but imagining them as children. Yes. And then talking to them in my life and my own dialogue in my mind as a 3-year-old version of them. Yeah. And, you know, the first couple times it pisses you off. Right. Like, you're just like, no, but this person, you know, depending on what people do, and I'm not saying that this is easy. It's not. Right? Because there are some things that you experience at the hands of other people that feel utterly unforgivable. Yes. Or things that did not receive your consent. Right. So this is a practice that, if it resonates and as needed, could be helpful, and also something else may be needed. But that freed me in such a way
Absolutely.
to just be able to see that we are all children with unmet needs at some point.
At some point, everyone.
Everyone.
We won't meet all of our children's needs.
Yeah.
We won't.
God.
We can
and
try.
that kills me.
I know.
I'll be like, dang, but I think I'm doing such a good job.
I know, but it's like, as humans, and it's
Wes
like,
will find fault with something.
Yes.
For sure.
But the thing that I look forward to doing when that time comes is saying, I believe you.
Yeah.
And and I can apologize, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to meet that need. And I think that's a lot of what we all are just wanting to hear.
Yes.
Is
just
that
the accountability.
That's it.
Yeah.
But accountability is not easy.
Yeah. Talk to me about Myleik+Mommas. You created a really amazing group of women in a multitude of ways. Like, you have a forum, you have an amazing newsletter with so many tools.
Yeah.
You have meetups that are happening all
Yes.
around the country with Black moms.
Yes.
Coming as someone that, especially from what I know about you as a woman, as someone that has always sought to serve.
Yes.
You've always sought to share wisdom. Whatever wisdom you got,
Yes.
I've always seen you say, how do I get this out of me and into the world
Yes.
in service to other people?
Yes.
You've always been doing that. But then this next layer of really supporting Black moms.
Yes.
And really sharing information, creating safe space to explore. A lot of parents from family systems that weren't into this, what we're calling it now, this quote unquote gentle parenting.
Right.
Tell me about the formation of this part of your life, of this work.
Yes. Once I became a parent and I realized how unacknowledged Black mothers are in just across the board. It's this idea of like, I think it's like 80% of Black mothers work. So there's no like meetup for a working mom to go have coffee at 8:30 or 9:30. She's at work, she's working. And, I was thinking to myself, just because I've created a flexible life for myself, I can read more. And I kept saying to myself, how would a Black mother, how would she show up if she had more info? It's like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I want you to know that, like, hey, here's what you need to know about this. Here's what you need to know about that. Here's what I read, almost like a cheat off my paper. I've had the time, because what I realized very quickly after I brought my second baby home, I was like, there is no joy in this if you cannot regulate your emotions, all the crying, all the work, And so little by little, Devi, I started with just an email newsletter of like, this is all the stuff I found. This is all the stuff I need. And you would ping me, you need these sheets for better sleep, So I'm like, okay, when you're in this space and you are just depleted and sleep deprived, you really do need someone to just hand it over to.
Yes.
And so I started doing the newsletter, and then people just kept pinging me. I'd be out in the world, and everyone that would stop me would just be like, I'm not a mother, but all of the things that you share, they really help me. Or I am a mother, or my kid's 19, And so I was out one day, Devi, and a woman stopped me and was like, I have a 3-year-old, and, I keep up with what you're doing. I'm in your group. And my son was just having a hard time one day. He's screaming and crying. And I offered him a hug. And essentially she was just like, it works. And it's not just about us trying to raise better humans, because we are, but it's about us wanting to be better humans.
Yes.
We want to feel better as we do this. And so the group, what I started to realize as we were in just like community, and I was like, I can't believe I'm going to do this, because I am a person who's like, I love people, but this might be too much for me. But the call just kept saying, Myleik, I don't just want you to show up in an email. I don't want you to just show up in a forum. I want you to show up in person.
Yeah.
And so we started gathering in person.
Yeah.
And we had a meetup recently where we rented out an entire sort of like play space, and you just have 22 Black moms and little Black kids, like the squeals and the freedom. Like there were some kids who didn't want to join. And in my experience, you know, back in the day, it would be like, you get over there. Like there would be all this like, this pride of like, I need to show you how good of a parent I am by how well my kid cooperates.
Yeah.
And you just had some kids just kind of like, nah. And it was just the freedom of like, some kids were participating, some kids weren't, but all kids were free and all moms were free. And I was like, we need more of this, please. And so we do play dates. We do, we had like a little Christmas party. And we are playing games, Devi. I mean, the playfulness that we are welcoming into our lives. So it's not just a play date for the kids. The moms are playing. So the mamas are playing, they're gardening, they're sharing stories, they're saving money. You know, we're talking about generational wealth doesn't mean anything without generational health, mental health, you know, and we're parenting for the lifelong relationship. Our kids are going to be out of our home far longer than they're going to be in there. And so
think about that
we are
all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
We, you know, what is it? Roots and wings. Like, I want you to fly, but I would like for you to know that like, this is where your roots are and for you to want to come back and see me. And even today, I still ask my son, I mean, I know you're going to go, but do you think you'll ever come back? Do you think you'll ever come back and visit mom for holidays? You know, it's like when they get partnered, I'm like, how do I get on the top of the list? Everyone's welcome. Bring everyone in. So yeah. And so, I love the mamas. I love watching them sort of transform and be in community with each other and make friends and learn. And so it is the thing that I wake up and I want to do every day, you know, is check on my moms, check on the kids, you know, because a free mom, a free Black mother can literally change the world.
Yeah.
So we're loving on those babies, loving, sharing pictures, Easter fits we did. Let's see them in the outfits and the smiles, the joy, the smiles on all those little kids' faces because their mothers are free or working towards freedom.
Yeah.
It's huge for me.
God, and especially like I'm thinking of especially like the single moms
Yes.
that are in that group. Like as someone that was raised by a single mom, that is a single mom, like that feeling of being able to be in that community, but also not have to, you know, like it's an extra lift. It is like to be in community. There is an extra kind of layer when you're doing it alone.
Oh, completely.
You know?
I did something small so we have a separate section for sort of single mothers in our group. And because this probably won't be out by then, I did a post and I said, in the form that we have for single moms, if you think that you may not get a card or any acknowledgement on Mother's Day, I want you to send me your address. And like one by one, I wrote each single mom a card. And I said, you deserve to be celebrated every day. Wow. You are loved and you are enough and you are doing an incredible job. And it's like one by one, I wrote out and I set them on mail. So they won't know this, but by the week of Mother's Day, all of the single moms in our group that gave me their address will get a card from me because that matters to me. This is hard and I'm not a single mom, so I can't even imagine. And so I'm like, I just wanted to do that because if you think you're going to wake up and not get anything, like, here's what I need you to know, sis. Every day you deserve a day. So I did that.
Full chills. Like, that's so powerful, Myleik.
Yeah.
That's a piece that, you know, I think also, like, if you're not in a relationship that feels fully supportive to your parenting, it's the case. But, you know, when you're a single parent, you don't really get a lot of feedback on your parenting, right? So there is never even an acknowledgement of any choice you're making or of anything that's going well or anything, you know, it's like, you're not even getting pictures of yourself and your child, except the superposed ones that you're asking someone to take for you. But you don't even get to see, a full understanding of like, how is my parenting? How does it look? How do we look together in our experience?
How do we look?
Yeah. How do we look?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, there's a lot to those dynamics. And I say this to say, for everyone listening, and some of what Myleik and I are kind of expanding on here, for the things that resonate, take them. For the areas that don't, leave them. But look at your own experience with a little more nuance, because sometimes even when we're trying to understand what our needs are so that we can meet them, we have to go into so many crevices of the experience to see all the ways that it's showing up so that we can feel like our lives are enough. That's the desire. Like, our circumstance isn't always going to change, right? There is not always this easily wrapped in a bow resolution for what it is, but it's the acknowledgement of this is my present moment. And then diving into those crevices allows you to say, yes, this is true. And how do I feel good about whatever my experience is? How can I get more present with whatever my experience is so that it can be enough for right now?
Absolutely. I look at all those different corners. Something I was doing recently is I just been thinking about in the back of my mind, mothering through the night. Because nighttime is hard. It is so hard when, someone's screaming and crying or just waking up for whatever reason, wetting the bed, all the things that happen when you have to like mother through the night. And I've been just trying to be more present as often as I can in that of like, yes, I'm exhausted. Yes, I'm tired. How can I show up and like mother through the night, And so even just that thought helps me, I'm softer when I come in, my energy. And I've noticed that we can, move along whatever is happening through the night when I just can change my mind of like, all right, not like I'm tired. I'm mothering through the night now. It's a different cap. Yeah. It's a different hat. Yeah.
Okay. So, we've been just waxing so beautifully poetic.
Yes. Let's get to,
about the feelings of the softness of the freedom, right? When you're doing the work, when you've done the work, when you're just letting yourself live the work. Talk to me about how over the last, 5 years, all of this nourishment that's come in from being a mother, how has this softness changed you as a friend and as a businesswoman?
Oh my goodness. I can tell you that as a businesswoman, I'll start with that one because I feel like I have so much more empathy. I have so much more empathy for people that I did not have before. I don't even know that I saw people that I worked with as actual people.
Wow.
I don't know that I did. And now I can see the people that I work with as, I can see all of them or more of them, and so that has just been so helpful for me. The parts of the softness, which, some of the parts of the softness have been even just, this is going to be just my desire for more. Sometimes we think like, just in, as I sort of reparent myself around this with my son of like just wanting more of like, I can ask for more in a situation. It's not just about what I, taking what I get. It's like, what do I want? And so that has been sort of crazy for me because I think, I've always been like about my hustle and about my grind and going after it, but I wasn't really, I don't know if I valued myself, in the way that I feel like I do now. So from a business standpoint, I definitely feel that. And more boundaried, I think that I really want to like save everyone. That's like my thing. And it's like, I can't. And I am so much more clear. I used to be afraid of that. So many people like, oh yeah, I can have hard conversations, but I couldn't. I really couldn't, and so I have been able to say up front, like, hey, this is what's going to work for me and this is what isn't. And if you aren't able to do this, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm just letting you know what I'm able to do. And so not sort of pinning people or sort of like labeling people based on like my needs. Like, these are just my needs. And if you're unable to meet my needs, I totally understand. Just not a good fit. So that has been helpful. As a friend, in the same way, I am able to see more parts of people. I am able to recognize the love in my friendships that I don't think I was able to see before. Like, I don't, and you and I have talked about this, intimacy and friendship, and really just being able to tell. I think I have so badly wanted to tell people how special I think they are.
Wow.
How much they mean to me. And realizing prior to having my children that I didn't have the language.
Oof.
I really just didn't even know what to say. And you and I have joked, it's like, I'm just like blurting out, like, I need you to know you matter, but I don't have the words. And finding the words, with my children, and even sometimes they'll give me the words. I will look for the words of just like, I need them to know how much I love them, how much I love being their friend in the way that I love being their mom. Like, I love being your friend. I love spending time with you. And so I've had such the other day I was like, I posted on Instagram, like, I don't know what is happening to me, but my heart is like blowing open and I can't even stop it. And it's like everywhere I go, I say something, you have a lovely day. Not a good day. I need you to have a lovely day. It's like, I feel like free to be, to pour syrup on everything as often as I want to. And it's like, I don't need it back because it's all in me, So it's like, you take overflow. It. I have an overflow. You take it. Like, you don't have to give it back, but I'm like, just walking around and just the things that I feel like I can now say freely to people, without fear or without expectation, of like, oh, are they going to think? It's like, think whatever. You're lovely. You look wonderful. Everything's great. It's like, you're shining. Look at you, So I feel free to be that with my friends in a way that I don't think I ever was, I was always so afraid to just tell people how like impressed I am with some maybe work that they said or a sentence. It seems silly, but in the way that I can like sort of like lose it over my kid doing something so small and simple, I feel like that with my friends. Like, that sentence you just wrote, that was it. And I'm like, I get to do that and you get to feel whatever, but I said it and I mean it. So it's been, I think the freedom to be able to share what I feel and to like let my heart be wide and to not be afraid of what could happen if
vulnerable, if you love, if you share joy.
Yes.
I remember I had a moment with you. I don't think I've shared this with you before, but we were. You said, "Oh," I'm already sitting here like I'm like. So you're just gonna. Oh my God! Oh, I love you so much. I remember you and I. We were traveling together, and we were in Mexico, and we had just like a really beautiful day together.
Yes.
And we had snuck away with our kids before and had like a mom's vacation, but this was like just you and me. And it was like a self-care vacation.
Yes.
And we snuck away. And I remember we spent the whole day having like delicious, nourishing food, getting in and out of the ocean, like being in silence together, just like walking on the sand, sitting next to each other. Like, and I remember we had got back to where we were sleeping, and I put on Selection, which is like my favorite thing in the history of life, as everyone on the show knows.
Yes, you put me on. You put me on.
And I remember I put up the music and me and you just started dancing and we were just having so much fun. And I remember I looked over at you and you smiled at me and I saw like a smile I had never seen on your face before. Like, you're always beautiful and I always see, you're always exquisite and I always see your smile, but there was a new way that you smiled in that moment that like I really felt and saw the freedom and the joy and the delight and like all of the beauty inside of you. Like I remember seeing your face and I was like, I just saw like 5-year-old Myleik smile at me and she's so beautiful. And it was just like such a, it just felt so special. And, as someone that loves you and as your friend, it just felt so good to like, for us to be in like that new depth of like intimacy with each other.
Yes. That trip, goes down. And I think, I don't even know, when I text you recently to share, like, I remember every single moment, but as I was like riding off in the car back to the airport, I was like, wow, I felt so loved by you. And I think probably in the smile that you saw was like, I felt like, and I was able to receive it. So it was just like from in and out of the pool. And I didn't question it. Like I normally find myself, oh, I wonder if they're thinking this or if I'm too this. And it was like, I just was like, I'm receiving it. And it's like every moment, it was such a, and I was like, I was so sad to be leaving, of like, I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss this. And giving myself, like making room for that. Like you can, not like, like you can miss people.
Yeah.
You can be sad. Like you can be sad that the time is ending, And I was like, I'm sad that this time is ending. And so it was a time. It was a time. And I can tell you that I have not been the same. I've not been the same since that Selection, for starters. Selection. Jokay, you the king.
Heal us all.
You play the music and I was like, I have forgotten about how like romantic music and an ambiance and environment, like how everything working together, I have forgotten. And so ever since then, it's like I have my moments where I'm like, I really try to recreate that time we had, inviting that love in because it was just so special. And so I thank you. I had looked forward to that because that's how we are. We make plans to see each other, to spend time. Like 1 year from now, okay?
I know, literally, like out-of-state friendships. Like
next year.
It is like, I feel like, and I love this with us, and I hope, everyone listening, especially those that have found these friendships or those that are looking to create them, looking to co-create them, looking to open to them. The reason I think it is so powerful for you and I to share this more intimate layer is that's an area people need guidance into. Like everything that you spoke to is so real and felt for so many people because we have to build tolerance for joy.
Yes.
We have to build sometimes the tolerance for that depth of friendship where we can just like giggle for real, like be delighted. Like, and I love that like in our friendship, and how we're each expressing we are with ourselves, like there is a commitment to romance too, right? Like I want you to feel pleasure when we're having an experience together. I want to feel pleasure, And like those, like that ability to be soft and receive and give and be in that dynamic exchange and not have your thoughts moving through, but will I be betrayed? Or is this real? Can I trust it? Can I like the freedom in that, and like these, we live in different states at this time. Though it's on my vision board. We'll be down the street at some point.
LA.
But it's like it's like we have a trip on the books now that we've been planning for a year.
And just on my flight here, I started like building out the itinerary. And so it's like restaurants, everything, it's like, and wanting to do that, like, oh my God, like I said, I want to do this. Let me build the itinerary. It's just, it doesn't matter if it's a year from the last time I saw you and got to spend time. Like, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be all
we keep
amazing.
it hot for each other.
We keep it hot. Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay. Myleik, oh my God. Could talk to you for a lifetime.
Yes.
As we close this episode, I would love, something I love to extend at the end of every episode is a little bit of soul work. So something that those who are resonating can savor, can deepen into over this next week until our next episode. Is there a thought, an inquiry, a journal prompt, an exercise of some sort that you would like to share with anyone listening about opening to that dynamic exchange of giving and receiving, or opening to joy?
I'm going to try. So something that has sort of been swirling for me has been this thought of wanting to show up perfectly, or wanting to show up in a way that would attract fans or more people, but is essentially not all of me. And so a sentence that I've been just saying is like, dare to leave an aftertaste, dare to not be palatable sometimes, and let people have you, and so I guess that is what I'd like for people to think about, it's that you might leave an aftertaste. And that's okay.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sit with that. Think about
Yes.
that. Write to that tonight.
Yes.
I love you so much.
I love you more. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for what you are giving all that observe you, all that are gifted the opportunity to witness you, whether it is in your work, it is in your personal life, whether it's your stories, your Instagram, but
Yes.
your presence, your existence is so valuable. It is so deeply necessary. And thank you for saying yes to your calling and yes to yourself.
Yes. Thank you.
As always, you can connect with Myleik in so many ways, but the hub is join her on Instagram at Myleik. From there, you will be able to get into all the different pathways. Myleik+Mommas, you'll be able to sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the events, check out her incredible, wildly popular podcast, and dive into all the things. As always, thank you for joining. Thank you for being present for your life and for yourself as you listen to this show. Take a deep breath. And everything you heard today, where do you want that to grow in your life? Where do you want to take that? How do you want to allow this to expand in your chest, in your body, in your consciousness? And how will it then radiate out onto others? Big love. Namaste.